If someone were to ask you, describe food in 3 words, what would you say? I would say food is delicious, it keeps us alive, and it creates a type of culture. But is this food healthy for us? Does this food help us be more productive? Food is fun to create. Food helps us surround ourselves with like-minded people, people that like the same food. It just builds on conversations. You can talk about food all the time. But when it comes to it, is the food you're consuming healthy? Does it keep you going? When you go to the doctor, do they say, oh, you're really healthy, everything looks good? Or do they say, you need to cut back on meat or fats and you need more nutrients like iron or calcium or omega-3s? Sometimes we don't really know what is good for us. And this is where it begins for me when I decided, hey, you know what? I feel like I'm gonna change my eating habits. Because that's what it is. It's eating habits. We are raised to eat the same food our parents ate, our grandparents ate, our great-great-grandparents ate. It's just a pattern. And if we keep going the way they went, it could be good depending on what your culture is, or it could be bad. I'm Mexican and our culture likes to eat a lot of beef, pork, a lot of fried foods like fried chimichangas. And if you eat an excessive amount of it, it's really bad for you. And this is where I started asking myself, where does my food come from? What happens to the cow once it gets to the factory farm? Because I know I don't buy grass-fed beef. I don't buy, or I didn't buy free-range chicken or any of that stuff. I never paid attention to the labels or what things said. I never worried about any of that stuff because my parents or nobody in general worries about that kind of stuff. And then I asked myself, am I willing to change my habits, my eating habits, and make certain people feel uncomfortable just because I don't eat certain things they eat? At first I was hesitant and I wasn't sure how to begin. There's so much information on Google, on YouTube. I didn't know where to start. But let's backtrack. I didn't really start thinking about food or where it came from until I was just scrolling through YouTube, not knowing what was going to pop up. And just out of the blue, or not out of the blue, some sort of obviously the algorithm knows what I'm looking at. The documentary Dominion came out and I was like, what is this? So I clicked into it and I saw how animals were treated in the factory farms, animals were slaughtered, how inhumane people are and treat those animals, and how we consume them not knowing the damage we're doing to the animals and the planet. And it's this not knowing where food comes from that makes us unaware of what is really happening. And as I watched the documentary, I couldn't finish it all. It was so difficult to watch. It was 2 hours of just slaughtering different types of animals, the cute sheep and little goats and calves and cows and chickens and chicks and all types of animals. And it was just so sad. And at the end of it, I started digging deeper and I started researching, and that's when I didn't know where to begin. And then I decided to read a book called A Diet for a New America, and that was another book, and it was really interesting, and it was written in the 1980s. And there again, it was that animals are smarter than you think. They're just not food. They're just not something to consume and something to just satisfy us for a couple minutes or hours, depending on how fast you eat. It's fun to share and be together, but not like this. So then I thought, how am I gonna change? What am I gonna cut out first? I'm not gonna go fast. I'm not gonna cut everything out really fast because that's not how I do things. I like to research. I like to be comfortable. I don't like to just cut things out really fast, and I know there is people that like to just get in there, get started, go from eating meat and all that stuff, boom, all the way to vegetarian, boom, all the way to vegan. I can't do that. I like to go slow in general on every single thing that I learn about. I like to really have an idea of what I'm getting myself into. So I don't drink whole milk. I just drink almond milk, oat milk. And right now I'm trying hard to quit beef and pork, as to let go of beef and pork, because those are heavier and those are animals that are really going through a difficult time and animals that are really suffering, and that's the reason. And the reason that's what I'm doing, it's not for health reasons, even though I know it would help my health and keep me healthy, but it's not just that. It's just health in general for me is the well-being health for me, and the well-being and health and just being compassionate towards those animals. And I'm not gonna lie, I still eat chicken, I still eat turkey. I haven't given that up yet, but I will, and it's gonna take time. And I'm not gonna give a certain timeline as to when I'm gonna do it, or if I'm gonna do it this year, maybe next year. I think it's a process, and every process is different, and depending on where you are, that's your choice. You can't have people telling you, well, you're going too slow, hurry up to make a difference. Whatever you cut out, whenever you cut it out, that's your choice, whenever you feel comfortable. It's like when you're training for a marathon. You're not gonna run a marathon without training. You're gonna run a couple miles, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles every day, or you're not gonna carry a 400-pound barbell without going little by little, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 150, 200, and so on. Everyone goes slow. Because I want to eat healthy. I don't just want to go, boom, I'm just going to be an unhealthy person not eating meat. I want to know where am I going to get my protein from, and I look it up, and there's so many things that I've learned, and I think I am almost ready to do that. Sometimes I do mess up, and it's okay. I don't want to restrict myself. I don't want to punish myself because I ate something that I wasn't supposed to, or I didn't think I was gonna eat. That's not me. That's not what I do. And it's horrible just to punish yourself when you're starting to come into this journey of health, food, whatever it is, and you restrict yourself from things, and you feel like this stress or anger about, man, I can't eat this, or they're eating this and I feel bad. Then that change, that shift that you're doing is not good for your health, and it's not good to put those restrictions on yourself and your body, especially if your body is not used to it. If you go from one thing to the next so fast, your body's like, what the heck, it just happened? Like, it goes into shock. It doesn't know that you just quit meat and then you're not gonna eat meat anymore. It's gradual. Everything is gradual, so the body can get used to it and process, and you can process what is going on. Many of us aren't taught where our food comes from. We're just taught, or we just see the commercials. Oh, this delicious burger, or this delicious restaurant has these delicious this or that. It's all just advertisements. And we're like, oh, that looks delicious. But we don't dig deeper and be like, where does this come from? And how did it get packaged? How did it come, and why is it so cheap, or why is it so expensive? These are the things that I feel many people need to question, instead of like just eating everything. Just having a small understanding of where things come from and the things that you're putting in your body is good. And this is just not just, oh yeah, you quit meat. It's more of also, where do you think, what kind of meat are you eating? Even if you do eat meat and you don't want to quit eating meat, but you still do it, you should know where it comes from. Is it meat from the factory farm? Is it meat from a farm? Are you eating meat with antibiotics? And no lie, eating habits are hard to quit because this is how we were raised. Our family eats this way, and when we're in the table and we're not eating what our family is eating, kind of probably feels weird. Or just telling them, oh, I don't eat that anymore, which opens up to a whole another conversation. Even though people are not in this similar path as I am, I know I will meet other people that have the similar view as me, that are on this similar path. And it's just getting into this zone of uncomfortability, being out there and trying new things instead of just sticking to the same diet. I don't call it a diet, it's more of an eating habit. It's the same eating habits that we've been used to, but trying new things, going out there and trying different things that work for you. whether it's the carnivore diet, pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan, whatever you want to call it, then you could have a wide array of experience and being able to share it and being able to tell people this worked for me and this could work for you, or it shouldn't work for you, or whatever works for you is going to be different than what worked for me. And as long as what you eat makes you feel good, then that's cool. Everyone just needs to understand that everyone has different preferences, everyone has different views, everyone has different reasons why they eat certain things, and as long as there's an answer as to why you're eating something and does it make you feel good, and you could respond. If I were to ask you, hey, why do you eat something so and so, or why do you eat this or that, you can respond, oh, I eat it because it means this to my culture, or because it makes me feel good, or I like the way it tastes. And those are the simple answers. They don't have to be complex. They don't have to involve this whole story as to why you eat it. But it's just a small answer that creates a bigger conversation, and then you can just have a conversation that could open doors or lead you to a different direction, but a calm one, not a crazy conversation, an argument. Who's right? Who's the right person? Who's the one that's eating the right way? Who's the one that's eating the wrong way? You gotta count your micronutrients, your macronutrients. It doesn't matter. So let me know in the comments down below. Are you changing your eating habits, or have you started changing your eating habits during this 2020 quarantine? Has there been some new insightful things you've learned? And if not, have you been thinking of changing your eating habits as well? All this talk about eating habits has gotten me hungry, so I think it's time to end this video, and I'll see you next time.